Hello, dear listeners. You are welcome to the platform once again. And this is the Unique Educational Consult. Previously in the lesson, we looked at the figures of speech as found in the poem. And this is the last video of the poem The Good Morrow by Donne. This is themes in the poem. So we are going to look at the themes one after the other. Here they are. The first one is the emptiness of life without true love. The futility or emptiness of a life devoid of true love is one of the thematic preoccupations of this particular poem, Donne's Good Morrow. And the poetic persona reflects on the barrenness of his life before he met his lover. He also presents this idea in stanza 1, where he wonders aloud. I read from the poem. I wonder, by my troth, what thou and I then did till we loved. Were we not weaned till then, but sucked on contrary pleasures? So in these lines, the poetic persona considers all the pleasures that both he and his beloved enjoyed before they met as insignificant indulgences that do not compare to the thrill they now experience as a result of their affection for each other. And besides, the poetic persona alludes to the 7 sleepers of Ephesus, a group of youth who took refuge in a cave to escape religious persecution and emerged 200 years later, just as these sleepers spent the better part of their lives fast asleep, totally oblivious of or to the occurrences and changes around them. So, the poet, that is the poetic persona, and his lover led lives that were dull and uninteresting before they met each other. Even though they were alive, they were not living, they merely existed, going through the motions like robots. So this theme is also presented in the last 2 lines of the first stanza. If any beauty I did see, which I did desired and got, it was but a dream of thee. That is in the last line of the first stanza. So in other words, while the poetic persona had seen other beautiful women, they did not compare to the beauty of his lover. Those beauties there are not compared to his lover. So that is about the first theme. And the second one is the enduring power of true love. When you endure with your spouse, you shall surely enjoy the life you are living. So, one of the major ideas expressed in this poem is that true love will never die. Other types of love may prove to be temporary, but true love will stand the test of time. We find this idea in the third stanza. Yes, in the third stanza of the poem, where the poetic persona states, I read, my face in thine eye, thine in mine appears. And also, and true plain earth do in the faces rests. Their love for each other shows in their eyes, which according to the popular saying is the mirror of the soul. Therefore, their eyes reflect the truthfulness of what lies not just in their hearts, but in their very souls. To further this, the poetic persona, drawing from its knowledge just in their hearts, uh, drawing from his knowledge of cosmology, which refers to himself and his lover as two hemispheres, and claims that whatever dies was not mixed equally. And if our two loves be one, or thou and I love so alike, that none do slacking, none can die. That is from the poem. So he states that both of them are not halves of one entity. On the contrary, their love has led to a complete union of two souls, which in turn will ensure that it never dies. That is the second theme. Now we are going to the third one, the beauty and strength of true love. After you endure, then you shall surely see the beauty of what you have endured. So the third one of the significant themes embedded in this poem, The Good Morrow, is the beauty and strength of true love. Love as a concept or idea means different things to different people as it has undergone several comparisons and definitions over time as pertaining individual. In this modern age that has seen the ascendancy of popular culture, especially, love has been compared to a wide range of things. To some people, love is wicked. To some people, pain is love. To some people, it is beautiful. So to some other people, love is like a drug, a drop of fantasy, and to others, love is real and stark in its reality. While to some as well, love or to love is human, while it could also be divine. So in this case, the good morrow, true love, which is embedded in the poetic persona's greeting, good morning, is eternal and pure. It is also a blissful, surreal, and at the same time, ethereal experience. For John, that is the poetic persona, the type of love that he presents in this poem is a sphere into which the soul enters, It enters and it becomes enraptured as it wonders how it has seen or how it has been surviving without it for so long. So this is why at the beginning of the poem, the poetic persona wonders what he and his lover have been doing before they fell in love. Love, within the context of this poem, is the facilitator of a meaningful and fruitful experience of life. This is why the poetic persona compares the life that he and his loved one had lived before they met to acts of sleeping. That is, they were sleeping when they have not met, which in the perspective was unproductive. He even described all the pleasures he has felt and every other beauty he has appreciated to be put to be but a dream when compared to the meeting of his one true love. So that is that about the beauty of true love and the strength. The next one is the futility and vanity of life. Everything about life is what? Vanity. Nothing is there to hold on to. So in this case, it is ironic that in the same poem, this particular Good Morrow, where the power of love is emphasized, the poet also highlights the futility of life. So the poetic persona's emphasis on the joy and happiness that are an integral part of his relationship with his loved one when compared with every other thing before them, in a subtle way emphasizing the futility and vanity. He is of the view that any other moment that a person spends out of love is a waste of time and resources. This idea is forcefully engraved in line 10 to 13. You can read it and see what I'm talking about. So within the context of the persona's belief that habiting a realm of true love is the best state of human existence, the great expeditions to discover new parts of the world are futile pursuits that offer nothing, I said nothing, when compared to the bliss in which the poetic persona has found himself. That is about the futility and vanity of life. The next is growth and maturity. Another theme in the poem is the theme of growth and maturity. At the beginning of the poem, it is noticed that the poetic persona, situates the lives of his loved one and himself before they met and started a romantic relationship within the ambit of childhood and the innocence associated with it. He talks about a child that is being weaned and who has sucked on contrary pleasures childishly. And by the second and the third stanza, the poetic persona and his loved one have transited from the realm of innocence that the childhood represents into a phase of experience that adulthood denotes. So, there is a sudden dramatic movement in the poem from childishness and childhood to maturity and adulthood, from sleep to awakening, from pleasures to fancies and true love, from dream to reality, and from one little room to see discoveries and a new world, from maps of land to hemispheres, from sharp north to declining west. So these are instances of the growth and maturity in the poem. All these movements and growth help in lifting the poetic persona and his lover from ignorance or to awareness, and they help in expanding the imagery used in the poem in the mind of the readers. Lastly, sensuality. In this poem, as in the most of the poem written by Donne, there is a struggle between spirituality and sensuality. Through the poetic persona's use of words and imagery, we see a constant battle between the flesh and the spirit, and also between innocence and experience. This battle is a reflection of the continuous state of the human mind in reality, and it is also reflective of 17th century English society as the people struggle to find ways of expressing sensuous ideas through arts in ways that would not be deemed offensive in a society that was still mostly conservative in orientation and outlook. At the beginning of the poem as well, the conversation between the poetic persona and the unnamed lover seems normal, like a simple talk between friends. However, as the conversation progresses, the mental image and setting in the reader's mind changes. One begins to imagine two lovers on a bed, in a room, in an apartment state of undress, rumpled sheets, and the language that the poetic persona uses to strip the scene of all the shreds of innocence. The poem itself begins with the imagery of a child being weaned. This exposes to the readers the innocence of childhood. The idea of weaning a child brings up the image of breasts, especially the image of a child sucking the nipples of the mother to the same minds of the readers. By the time the next line begins, the poetic persona makes mention of country pleasures, and this creates images of drinking, dances, carousing, and prostitution that characterized the entertainment of the lower classes in the English countryside, which is sometimes used to denote innocence and unspoiled serenity of nature. In the second stanza as well, Donne is talking about love, sea discoveries or sea discoverers, and words on words, and this seems like an honest description of the traveling and map-reading explorers of 17th century Europe. However, on closer inspection, the poetic persona could be creating sexual innuendos under the guise of geography and astronomy. An idea has been expressed that the bodies of two people in love can be likened to a country waiting to be discovered. The words on words could be referring to sexual trysts, the sexual intercourse between the poetic persona and his lover as they explore each other's body. The imagery of hemisphere lands on map with slopes and hills, and mounts and mountain could be referring to the naked flesh of a lover. The reference to seas, which are usually salty, could be referring to the sweat dripping from the bodies of the poetic persona and his loved one. Yet, in this poem, all resides a depth of spirituality. The same references of the poetic persona to sea discoverers and maps for finding new land could also refer to the yearning of soul in its search for eternity. So this marks the end of the poem The Good Morrow, written by John Donne. Expect more to come, prose, dramas on this channel. Don't forget, subscribe if you have not subscribed. If you have subscribed, like the channel, comment the videos as well, share the link, let more people be aware of this channel, and I'll be very glad to do more. Have a nice day and remain safe.